Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt, coming to you on a Thursday night, August 28th, coming to the end of the month. And we apologize for being a little late with this episode. You know, Matt and I, we were having a series of meetings to discuss our logo and whether we should change it or not. And, you know, what would be the fallout of that. And, you know, one thing led to another, and we weren't talking to each other for a few days. And we had to mend fences. And then, you know, now we're back here, and we decided the prudent thing to do, Matt, is to leave the logo as is and not change it and cause a kerfuffle.
Yeah, I suppose, Mike. You know, I don't want to stir this up again. We've hashed this out the past couple weeks. You know, it's been rough. We are, as you said, things have been said, things have been done. That's in the past. Let's just move on, Mike.
You know, I had to get away from it all, really. I took the family to Paris, to Bruges, to Amsterdam over this course of the last couple of weeks. I really had to walk away from the situation.
Yeah, it's pretty good we were on two different time zones, you know, the past couple of weeks, because I think that helped kind of settle things down somewhat. So,
I had a hell of a time, though. Not that you care. I had a hell of a time in Europe. A lot of walking, a lot, you know, the old saying, hang it in the Louvre. I hung it in the Louvre.
Did you?
I went there. I went to Versailles, Fontainebleau, the catacombs. I know you're very curious about the catacombs.
Fascinating, the catacombs.
So let me paint the picture. You know, picture in your eyes, you know, a French corner, you know, bistros, outside cafes, right?
Oh.
Just like that, right? You know.
Some croissants on your plate. And
on the left-hand side of the street, you know, you cross the street. The other side of the street's the bistros and the cafes, whatever. But on the other side of the street, it's just this, like, what I would describe as, like, almost like an above-ground subway entrance. Very unassuming, okay? It's just a blackish white building, you know, no gaudy, like, you know, if this was, you know, in the backwoods of Tennessee, it would be like, you know, skulls here, right? you know,
Rippies, believe it or not.
Right. You know, just very subdued. I don't even know if it says catacombs there. The only reason I think we knew, besides, you know, Google Maps, which was our friend the whole time, there was just, you know, a line outside. And, you know, it's a very small line because they don't let a ton of people in there once. I'd say maybe anywhere between 15, 20 people at a time. Okay. And, you know, you go through a series of, you know, security checkpoints, and then there's a bunch of stairs. Now, the catacombs spread across the whole neighborhood there.
It's like all underground. It's like all underground Paris. It's very, very huge.
Right. I'm not sure all of Paris, but yes, it could very well be. There's a bunch of sections. They've made it into some sort of museum type thing that you can't explore the whole goddamn city, and they lose you down there, and all of a sudden they got to add your bones to the pile.
I've heard of that happening.
But there's a lot of twists and turns that you can explore. You know, it goes on for a while. And I think it sets in about 2 to 3 minutes in, if not quicker, that there's a lot of bones, a lot of skulls. They are stacked high, but they are stacked deep. Like deep, Matt. Like
when you say deep, like my wall right here, this wall, you know, be a face of skulls, but that could go back like 10, 15 feet.
Like back to like behind me, you know, like from where I'm sitting to the fucking door.
Just full of bones.
Right, and someone had to stack those meticulously. Right?
That's a hell of a job.
They're just not thrown there. They stacked them so that they could, you know, have everything sort of boxy and, like, you know, shit not falling over. Now I don't know the you know, obviously this was because of the plague, right? And they ran out of places to bury people, so they dug up the people that were in the mass graves for the plague and moved them here and put the people that were currently dying into. They kind of not swap spots, but they put the people from the plague in the catacombs and people that maybe didn't die in the plague up above ground, but underground.
No. When you say placed, are these like glued, cemented in, or like can you go out and just like, oh man, I like that skull and just grab it?
Well, I mean, there is a video that you have to watch before you go in that this is a solemn place, and there's absolutely no touching of the bones, but they did not appear to. I mean, I have not thousands, but I have a couple hundred photos I took down there. They do not appear to be glued. They appear to be placed,
just
stacked. You know, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was worried about going into it like being claustrophobic and all that type of stuff, and it's pretty. The ceiling is pretty short. But I didn't get a claustrophobic vibe.
Yeah.
And, surprising, it doesn't smell like death down there. You'd think there would be, it smells wet and damp, but I didn't get the sense of like, well, something bad died down here, Well,
I mean, imagine it's been, hundreds of years? So, yeah. I mean, that's probably all gone. I mean, it's not like, fresh bodies down there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Pretty wild, though, to see all that.
Yeah. That is, yeah. Can you imagine that, Mike? You being dead hundreds of years and your skull just there, just staring out at tourists coming in, Yeah. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
It is
man, what crazy.
It is staggering the amount of I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see that if I back it up maybe a little bit.
Well, that's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Just the amount of just the sheer amount of it was like wow.
I mean, you think of all the people in the world, right? And you see all those bones there. It's like, holy cow, how many people? It just tons and tons, endless, right? Just when you're down there, just seeing around, it's just absolutely wild.
Yep. Yeah, and why was like I said, I haven't done the research to like why do they put them there rather than just burn them? I don't know. Yeah, I sent you a photo. That does not appear to be glued to me.
That is wild.
Yeah, meticulously stacked. But besides that,
who does that? Like, just the person do that? Oh my God! Here's a whole other bucket of skulls for you. Oh, thanks. I'll stack them nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to have those conversations while I was down there, and I'm getting like elbows in the ribs, like what the fuck's wrong with you? But beyond that, we did. We also did the Eiffel Tower. Many museums, many different restaurants, a lot of walking. We mastered the metro system.
Nice.
Very, very well done there by the Parisians. Got one of their cards, and I could refill it on the app on the phone. And we went to many places I'm probably, forgetting at this point. I think I counted because my phone has the walking app. I think we averaged just under 10 miles per day walking. The highest, the last day when we were in Amsterdam, we did over 30,000 steps in 13 miles. So after we left Paris, we went to Bruges, which is in Belgium. It's a small medieval town, but tourism, is certainly their biggest, industry there. They average about something like 9.5 million tourists a year. Must be a hell of a place during Christmas time. Big open area in front of like their sort of medieval office buildings, and there's all sorts of horses riding around that you can, if you wanted to pay to get rides, you can do that. I can just imagine a little bit of snow falling, Christmas carols, the lights and stuff like that. It'd be really, really picturesque. Bruges, was a little bit slower paced than Paris, but there was still a lot of people there. I was just surprised at how many people were in fucking Paris. A lot of fucking people in Paris. And people keep saying to me, well, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. But there was a lot of people there, and all different types of people, not like Europeans, just a melting pot of different people there. And definitely I felt like Americans, not as many. There were certainly Americans there because I could hear them and tell, but it didn't feel like there was a lot of Americans there. Bruges felt more of a European destination for tourism. I didn't notice that many Americans there, but beautiful place. There's this one church there that supposedly they claim that they have a blood vial from Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Blood. You can go to holyblood.com, and there's people that we walked up there.
Of course, there's a website.
You walk up there. You're in this church, beautiful church, and there's some sort of deacon, because it was a woman, so it wasn't a priest, but some sort of religious person there, and you're supposed to make a charitable donation. And you go up and you see the vial there, and some people like us just look at it and walk away. Some other people have more of a reaction, should we say? A lot of the blessing themselves and prayers and weeping, things of that nature. But you go on their site and they say, yeah, many historians have said that this is not true. That it's that there was some relics that were stolen in Istanbul, and how did it make its way to Bruges? And no one in the 12th century really made a big deal about this, that they said that this vial was here in Bruges, but all of a sudden in the 13th century is when they became more proud of this relic, and that's when there was this relics that were stolen, but many people say it's probably, not blood, because it's not obviously it's dried up, right? It's not like,
It's going to be, it's black. It's probably black. Right?
It was more like a pink quartz looking color. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
you can go to holyblood.com and get the lowdown on it if you want.
Just like Jesus wanted a website and donations to see his blood. I'm sure Jesus wanted that.
Yeah. Jesus saves.
At Walmart.
But yeah, a lot of good food in Bruges, man. A lot of good food. We went to, we went some.
I'm sorry. That you're talking about the food. I know. Unfortunately, you probably didn't. But did you experience like the fine French wines and that while you were there?
No. Not the travel party there. And at this point, I didn't even have any meat on the trip. Okay, I don't know why. I think something that threw me off is we were at some restaurant right early in the beginning. Well, first of all, I think things that threw me off was, and I've noticed this before when I was in Europe before, but there's a lot of butcher shops or stores like that, and there's like no refrigeration, and it's just like out and about.
Mm-hmm. It's right there.
And I went to one restaurant and it was like you can get like a burger, like Angus beef, but you had to pay like $5 extra for it, or you could have the Irish meat. I was just like, do I want to pay more for Angus? Do I want to just have what's this Irish meat? What?
Yeah. Do you want to know what that is?
Yeah. So I'm going on like 3 weeks now, vegetarian. I've been home now since Sunday, and I haven't had any meat either. So I have to admit, I do feel a little bit better. The stomach is not as upset, not as gurgly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try this out for a little bit until I run out of ideas to eat and get.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Fuck this, but we'll see. So after Bruges, we went to Amsterdam for 4 days. Amsterdam, big city like Paris, a lot of fucking people there. I was just not prepared, Matt, for the amount of people on bicycles. Okay,
yeah.
I know you're a big cyclist. I could picture you sitting at one of these cafes in the morning with your coffee, maybe a little Zambuca poured in it, and just watching all the bikes go by. Now,
I would love it.
Now, the bikes, they have their own lane, and these are like high speed. People aren't just like casually, driving by and, giving you like the wave. They're going at a fucking good clip, man, because they're going to work.
This is their This is their transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you see some of these lots that have all the bikes, it's just a sea of bikes. And a lot of them,
I bet you none of them are locked up, are they?
they are locked up. Some of them are.
They did lock them up, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Especially now with the e-bikes.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people driving those e-bikes, and I guess they got a situation over there where people hack them and take off the limiters, and then they go too fast and cause a danger for other pedestrians and other cyclists. So if they suspect you have hacked your limiter, they pull you over, and they got this machine that they can put the bike in, and I guess it will rev the bike up and tell if it's exceeded what it should, what the capacity is or the speed limit is on it. So that was wild to see, but just a dirty city, and I want to be, I guess, somewhat kind to it because there's so many people there, and there's such a nightlife going on their environment that they do their best part to clean it up. It's not like they just let shit accumulate. Like they're trying to, like every morning you see the street sweepers out and people picking up, but it's just like they can't keep up with the influx of tourists there and then the amount of shit that goes on at night. You know what I mean? It's just
what do you mean by the like coffee cups and drink cups and wrappers and paper and stuff like that? Or?
Just stuff that like not people's like home garbage, but just like just like trash barrels in the street are overflowing.
Man,
they just can't keep up with it. People do drunk at night, smash bottles, glass everywhere. It's an interesting place to be, Amsterdam, especially when you go with the kids. Obviously there's the red light district area, but there's some of that stuff is not all centralized. You could be walking down a street and there could be sex shops all of a sudden just pop up out of nowhere.
Nice.
The smell of weed is everywhere. Which is the way it is like here now in Massachusetts, too, but not to that extent though. And I wasn't prepared for the amount of smokers in Europe. I forgot. Everywhere we went, whether it was Paris, Bruges, or Amsterdam, everybody smokes. And my middle son hates that. So he's walking around like pulling his shirt up over his nose. And my oldest son is like, you're being rude to the locals. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Don't smoke then. But,
So in Amsterdam, do you see a lot of women of the night?
Well, it was funny.
Vaginas.
One time we were walking in this, it wasn't really the red light district area, but like I said, some people have, there's a centralized area, but then there can be little places here and there that have it as well. And the corner of my eye, it was like dusk. Usually they start popping off at like 10 o'clock, right? We weren't out at 10 o'clock. It was maybe like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it was like dusk. And on the corner of my eye, I saw like the red, they have like little like neon lights, like red light above the windows, right? That's how you know, right? And there's this woman, in, her, they're not nude. I think back in the day when I was there in the 90s, they were nude, but they were not nude. They're all wearing like lingerie or bathing suits or something like that. And she's like all of a sudden like gyrating. And in hindsight, I shouldn't have said anything. I just should have kept going and just looked myself, right? Mm-hmm. When I said, don't look over there. And everybody looked over there, and our eyes locked with her, and so she stopped, and she kind of like got like in this like crouching position to like cover herself because like my kids were looking over there. But yeah, a lot of adult toy shops, sex shops. When we were in Paris, we what's that big sex show that goes on there? Like the Moulin Rouge?
Moulin Rouge, like the cabaret type of thing.
Yeah. We ate at a really good restaurant right near there, and so we took photos out front. And there was the next corner over. It was like live sex shows or a strip joint and stuff like that.
Oh yeah!
So the boys got some chuckles out of that.
Hell yeah! It's a good experience for them.
And so also in Amsterdam, Sail 2025 was there. So all like the tall ships and stuff were in town. So every night for those 4 nights of that thing, they would light fireworks off. So fireworks started like 10:30. The kids wanted to stay in the hotel, so we went to watch the fireworks. But before that, we were like, I was like, while we're here, we got to go to the red light district. And the only thing I can really equate it to, like, you ever watch like New Year's Eve in Times Square?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's the
Dick Clark's rocking New Year's Eve.
So there's the canal in the middle, and then there's like businesses and houses on each side of the canal, but it was like jammed, like you're waddling. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
You can't take a stride. You can't take any steps. You're just taking little, you're nuts to butts with people. And yeah, we saw the women in there, and then Lynn was less than.
Now, like the women, were they like on the corners and stuff too,
No.
and all that shit, and just kind of walking around, or just?
I didn't see any of that. I couldn't detect any of that. It was so many people.
Uh huh.
I didn't detect, like when I was with the band in the 90s, and we were in like Hamburg. They had like this street that had like red, not doors like you opened up, but picture like these metal doors, and you had to go in and then like go like this. You had to like snake through it, right? You just could. It wasn't like a door like a subway or something like that.
Straight in, yeah, kind of like a maze going in that blocked the views and stuff and all that shit.
And all the women inside there, at least in my recollection, this was 1998, were like knockouts, like 10s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all the 7, 8s, and 9s were hanging outside the doors on each end. You know what I mean? So I didn't detect any of that here in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such a mass of people that they could have been there, and I just didn't. Now it's also legal there, so you don't have to really be out. Like, you can just call these people and they'll come to your hotel.
Like a DoorDash, like a service, right?
Yeah. So maybe they don't need to be out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
But there was some men there treating the women poorly, like going right up to like the door and like saying, I don't know what language they were speaking in, but you could tell they were saying something like, "Yeah, you want this baby, don't you?" And the women were kind of off put by that. I mean, there's got to be, when you see that many people gawking at you, you got to feel like a fish in a fish tank, right? You got to.
Sure.
It's got to be a weird ass feeling to be on the other side of that window.
Or maybe they just get used to it. They see, use it all the time. They're after it all the time, and just get used to it and just ignore it. Be the. And they got to be strong women to be able to do that for sure, right?
Lynn did some research on a lot of the women from Romania or not Romania, maybe some countries like that. So they're being sort of trafficked here.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't
being taken advantage of.
The ones that I saw did not, and I don't want to stereotype people, but they didn't outwardly appear like Eastern European women to me. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you can do something with your hair, and you can get a tan, and you can make yourself look different. But they didn't have that vibe or look to me like something was. They didn't look underage either. They didn't look like they were like, wow, is that person 16 or is that person 8? I didn't see anybody that was like, wow, where's the parents here? They look like.
Is there age of consent over there?
I have not researched that. But my eyeball test, I'd say the women that I saw looked like they could have been between 24 and 28.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But we didn't hang out there long. There was just so many people, and at that situation, you really got to be worried about pickpocketers. Lynn left her purse at home and the hotel room at that point, and I just had the whole trip. No matter where I was, I had my phone and wallet always in my front pocket that had a zipper.
Mm-hmm.
I was not playing around with that bullshit. There's
some pretty experienced pickpocketers over there.
Yeah, they
for sure. Yeah,
they do something, and it's a group of people, right? They confuse you, get in front of you, block you, and then the other person comes from behind while you're trying to figure out get your balance going,
mm-hmm.
type of bullshit.
Anyone come up trying to scam you? Some scam artists try and do anything? Come this way, for souvenirs, or hey, show you this or anything.
No, there was one. I think one guy said, he was some sort of bum, homeless guy, and he just was going hungry. I'm hungry, hungry, and I was just like, I don't have any money, and he just moved on. No, I remember, but being in Amsterdam back in the 90s, I know what you're talking about. One of the guys freaked out and would not go with us because some guy was like, yeah, I'll show you how to get to the red light district for like, this was before euros. They had their own currency, whatever the Netherlands currency was. Like, giving me like 50 crowns and I'll show you how to get there type deal, And we didn't care. We're like, yeah, here, One of the guys freaked out and went back to the van. But yeah.
Probably would have been me.
Well, we did a lot of traveling. We just didn't stay in the cities as well. Like I said, we went to Fontainebleau, which is sort of like on the outskirts of Paris, like 45 minutes away. Took a train there. That's where Napoleon had his residence, and Louis, and so we got to see a lot of like where he was, his throne, which was wild. It's the beds that they slept in. A lot of his outfits and guns and swords.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was quite an experience. 2 weeks, and now I'm
That's a long time.
Trying to get readjusted to the time zone. Today is probably the best I have felt since I've been home. The last couple of days, I really felt like I hit the wall around 6 or 7 p.m., but I had to force myself to stay up later to go to bed at a normal time so I don't wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I think I texted you once while you were gone. It was evening time here, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you're going to respond to text or what time it is, but hey, Backbeat's giving you a shout out across the pond here at the St. Bernadette Festival.
Yeah, Backbeat, baby. That's funny. I know I already told you the story, but I'll tell other people. We were in Amsterdam, Paris, like the first day or second day. I think it was the first day. And we just got done doing the Eiffel Tower and tour of the canal. And I'm like this walking zombie. I've already had a couple of Dramamine pills because I got really nauseous on plane rides. So I've been up for about 30 hours at this point. Anyways, I saw this guy, the other side of the long crosswalk, and he had a punk rock band shirt on. I knew the band, and I said to my wife, I go, I know that guy. And I go, he works for the touring company that brought us over to Europe in the 90s. So we're like 2 ships passing in the night. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and I said, hey, and I said the name of the touring company, MAD Booking. And he said, yeah. And I said, hey, Mike, Blood for Blood. And he's like, holy shit. And so he walked, back to like where he was coming my way. So he just kept walking with us to the sidewalk. And we had a nice conversation for 10 minutes or so. He was actually on tour with Hatebreed, which is a band that your son is well aware of. Mm-hmm. So he was on tour with them in Europe. They had a day off, and they had their bus parked at the Bataclan, which was a club in France where they had that big shooting, and I think 5 or 6 years ago, the big mass shooting. So they had their bus parked there on a day off because they were going somewhere else, and some of the other guys were at Disney Paris, which we didn't go to, and he was out just getting his exercise in on an off day, getting his steps in. So it was wild to catch up with him. I hadn't seen him since '98. He was on our tour with us, but when we played in Germany, he showed up to many of the shows and things like that. So it was pretty.
That's crazy.
Lynn's like, only you would fucking know someone in Paris.
That's just crazy. That is wild.
But now I'm trying to readjust to life back here, get into some sort of routine, and still on the job hunt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
While I was away, there was a Gamescom happening in Cologne, Germany, and part of the benefit of me being in Europe during that is I was getting the updates sort of in real time as they were happening, rather than waking up to the news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the ROG Xbox Ally and the Ally X has a release date, which I believe is October 16th, something like
October 16th. Yes, sir.
Yep, both of them are coming out October 16th. Pre-orders are supposed to be happening later next month, September. The rumored price that has been leaked is, I think, $549 for the white Ally, and $899 for the Ally X, the more powerful version.
Mm-hmm.
However, Microsoft declined to announce the pricing. They just revealed the release date, and they said in the coming weeks they hope to announce the price. Basically, the whole, tariff situation here in the United States has thrown a monkey wrench into the works, and so the uncertainty with the tariffs has given them some pause. So we have to see here. Are they waiting to see if tariffs go away, get reduced at some point? We're not economists, Matt. I mean, what do you think? At some point, if everything stays the same, you think Microsoft and Asus are having conversations behind the scenes to try to subsidize some of this to keep it at those prices, or do you think they're going to just push? Or do you think it's one of those things that's going to happen like with Nintendo? Because I'm convinced that the Switch 2 is going to go up in price. The PlayStation, while we were away, PlayStation has gone up in price now. I'm convinced the Switch 2 is going to go up in price once they blow through their stock or get through the holiday season. Maybe next year they raise the price. You think it's one of those similar situations where they already have some of these units in the United States and they're going to release it at these prices, but once they blow through that, then everything goes up? When you once the momentum has died down, right? Once the hobbyists buy what they want, then they're going to jack the
price go up.
And the price could go up.
I'm pretty sure they already know, right, what they're going to charge these things at, what they're going to be priced at.
Well, I think they know what they want to charge them.
Yes,
I think there's a chance that tariffs could go up or down, right? And I think that's the uncertainty.
I think tariffs probably have some part of that. I think they know. Okay, I think they have a price at. Okay, I'm just showing that generality. $600, we're releasing this version. At $900, we're releasing this version. If between now and October 16th, or I'm going to say between now and October 1st, if shit hits the fan and Trump's saying this or doing that or whatever with tariffs, then okay, you know what? Okay, we're going to go to this price point. We're going to go $700 and $1,000, and that's it. I think they know what's going on, what they can get and what they think they can survive with already. And we could, and this might not happen at all. They might just go out and say, okay, yeah, we're coming out $549 and $899, no matter what. But I think they're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen in the world and what tariffs and all that stuff.
Yep. A lot of uncertainty and a lot of not just tariffs. A lot of things are up in the air right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a good price point for this. They're I think the $549 is a good point for a lot of people getting into it. The handheld gaming that. I think the enthusiasts. I think there might be some people that balk at the $899 possibly.
Yeah, because you got to add taxes on that. In Ohio, there you buy that for $8.99. You add taxes on. What's that bringing that up to?
It's bringing up another 7.5%. So, yeah. Whatever that's going to be. I can't do the math right now. I'm not a mathematician. So I don't know. It brings it up some. And plus, the people that are going to buy these people already have an Xbox, right? I mean, if you don't have an Xbox, I don't believe you're going to go out and buy this just out of the blue.
Well, I get that to a certain extent, but this is not playing your Xbox games. This is playing PC games. So anything that's on the Xbox PC store right now, or Steam, or GOG, or Epic, any of those storefronts that you want to play in a handheld, yes. Now, I think going forward, I think Xbox is going to bust their hump to make sure that all of their first-party titles are going to be released on PC. I think I think that happens now for the most part.
You and I know that, and some of the enthusiasts know that, but it's being called the Xbox or the Ally Xbox or whatever.
Right.
Okay. People are thinking it's a portable Xbox.
The various videos that I have watched in preparation of this podcast have said that at Gamescom, they had a better messaging around that. No, obviously that's not going to filter out to the rest of the world and just to casual people. But they did make it, I guess, clearer at Gamescom that this is a PC handheld. It is not an Xbox handheld. And it will only play games that are currently on the PC game store or cloud. Right, so it's a cloud streaming device, or whatever's available in the Xbox cloud, it will play as well. But yeah, to your point, the casual person stumbling into this might just think it's an Xbox handheld like a Switch 2, and they're going to be in for some rude awakening. Because, Matt, I had my hand here. I know this is not going to mean anything to the people on listening. This is my, ROG Ally X. I haven't turned it on. I haven't turned it on for months. And today I fired it up, and it was like being on the PS3. I had to spend all morning. Now, I don't know how much updating you do. You play yours pretty regularly, so I'm not sure if you're just comfortable where everything is at. When I don't play this for like a couple months, I turn it on. I do a Windows update to make sure all that's up to snuff. And then I do the Armory crate. And they have like two different places that you can go in and update their stuff. The My Asus and then the Armory crate itself. And then I go into like launch the Xbox app, and it tells me the Xbox app's out of, and then I got to go into apps like you do in Windows. So what I'm driving at is when you're going to buy the Xbox ROG Ally X, it is still a PC. And even with the new software that they're coming out with, the full Xbox experience or Xbox full screen experience, whatever that is, and the videos that I watch, Paris from Gamertag Radio, Jez over at Windows Central, you still have to bounce out to Windows to do these things that I just talked about. It's still a PC. It is not a Steamdeck where you're just going in and doing the Steamdeck update, right?
Well, the Ally X, but we don't know the Xbox Ally might be totally different.
No, well, unless they make an update between Gamescom and the release date. The videos that they were showing you at Gamescom with the Ally X, the Xbox Ally X in their hands, they had to bounce out of the full Xbox experience. There's a button inside the full Xbox experience that says Windows. You bounce to that, and that's where you got to update all that other stuff.
So the Xbox OS, what isn't really an OS?
It doesn't update all that other stuff. What will happen inside of the full Xbox experience, it will have, just like now in Armory Crate, it will have like Steam in there and GOG and Epic, and then you launch it from there, and then you still got to sign in and all that. But the Armory Crate, Windows, you got to bounce out of the full Xbox experience like we do today and do all those updates there. Now, they could iterate on that over time, but at launch, that is the expected behavior, is that you're going to have to treat this like a PC and do all your updates individually.
So it seems like a misnomer then, because that was back when they announced this, it had this Xbox OS that was going to be on it, right? It wasn't, it was Windows based, but it wasn't Windows PC. It was an Xbox OS type of thing that you're going to have, kind of like Steam OS, right? So if that's not the case, and that's not what they've been marketing or shown or presented to us at the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
And then to your point, as far as like the updates and stuff like that, yeah. Unless you're using this thing, I'm not going to say the Xbox one, but the Ally X. Unless you're using it like at least once or twice a week, yeah, you're going to have issues with updates and all, just like you would with a PC. If you didn't use your PC for a month, right? You have all types of shit to do with that. So you have to stay on top of these things to keep them current and keep them updated, play and stuff like that.
So yeah, just by people listening who are mildly interested, what you're buying is a PC handheld that's going to have going to have a full Xbox experience. And, you can update your games in the full Xbox experience. You can probably update the Xbox app through there. There's mentioning in this article that I'm referencing now from The Verge that, if you have a Steam Deck now, you're aware of these shader compilations. Microsoft is actively working on improving the game shader experience on Windows with the new advanced shader delivery feature, supposedly through the cloud. So those things are being worked on. But again, other things like the Armory Crate and Windows updates, drivers, you're going to have to bounce out of the full Xbox experience and do them like a PC for now.
And not only do you have to deal with all of that then, but you have to deal with how it looks. With that stupid controller looking thing on the ends of it.
Well, people have said that was the best thing. That it really
good for them.
It really,
this thing looks so fucking dumb, dude.
They said it felt really ergonomically correct. They were Paris.
Awesome. You put up what you just held on the camera there for people to see. Okay, your Ally X, and you put this next to it. I'm going to pick the fucking Ally X every goddamn time because it looks so much cooler than this thing. This looks like
I know
a like it went through Chernobyl and got mutated or something.
I know you lived through the early days of podcasting, especially on Gamers Unscripted, where we talked about the various doodads that you could put on your controllers, and there was something like the boppy, the gaming boppy. There are a lot of people, Matt. And we are simple men. We're just innocent men.
We are simple. We are simple men.
And that they get their handheld. Again, I'll put it up on the screen here. If I drop this thing, I'm sending you the bill.
That looks beautiful. Looks beautiful, Mike.
They get those.
I went upstairs.
We might even have some people, listeners, would do this with their Steam Deck. I think even you do it with the Steam Deck. They put these wrappers around them, and they put these other, elevated thumbsticky doodads on them. And so other people, the Steam Deck, I think, feels better in your hand than the...
Steam Deck feels good. The Steam Deck feels more comfortable than the Ally.
It's got the curve right there where your hands sort of naturally rest in there.
Curve. Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that buy the hand, like even the Switch. They want that sort of Xboxy controllerish feel at the end. They don't want that flat, like their hands maybe go numb when they have to just hold it like this. They want that sort of turn, like curved feature at the end. So I think, we might be in the minority, Matt. A lot of people might overlook the ugliness of it and just say that is going to be more pleasing in my hand.
That's what she said. I don't know. I mean, this thing, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful controller here. They could have done this better. The way that I think they could have done it better. They could have. I mean, the Steam Deck, like you said, has nice rounded, bulbous, ends to it. Okay, that feel comfortable. This thing, I'm sorry, it just looks. If I see myself out in public, I see myself out in public with my Steam Deck or the Ally X, okay, and just the Ally, right? At a brewery or at some other place, playing that thing. If I pull it, I just feel like a fool, like a toy, like it's a toy that I'm out in public with.
Now, man, one of the beautiful things of aging is you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about you.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, we know this now. True. You're evolving. You're starting to slowly wear sweatpants out in public.
I know. I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm staring at it right now. Just, oh, God.
Well, the way I want to sort of wrap this up here, this particular story is, I think a few episodes ago, where I was not feeling very optimistic about Microsoft and doing the right thing with the software, because I said, why all of a sudden are they going to have this epiphany and do things correctly? And there's just the articles that I've read from people that I respect, like Tom at The Verge, Tom Warren, and Paris and Jez. It feels like there is some momentum here to. And the guys at Digital Foundry were talking about the shader compilations via the cloud and how that could revolutionize this experience, which would essentially take stutter out of games. Because when they talk to devs about this whole shader compilation, like, why can't we solve this problem? Why do they have to come up with these sort of ad hoc processes to get us the shaders? They says because there's so many that if they just gave you all to download locally, it would take you hours before you could play your game. So what they do now is they give you a small subset. And so, when you see when you ask, why do you have to download those? I guess, that's to take out the stutter in your game. So, but now they can supposedly deliver them via the cloud, which will just take a few minutes as opposed to a few hours. So we'll see if Xbox can nail that. So I'm slowly getting more optimistic about it. I'm still pretty certain I'm not getting this, because if they can bring the software over to our existing devices that we already own, I think the only thing that we would be missing is just that the ROG Ally X is a little bit more powerful than our current Ally X. Is that our understanding?
Yeah, it's a new processor, right? The Z2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with those shaders too. Another problem with the shaders, and it's a big issue with the Steamdeck. People complain all the time. The size, the memory that they take up, on the system.
But I think
it's fairly large.
But I think they're always replacing what's already been downloaded, right? They're not like stacking on top.
They are, but it's not. But they're still. It's a big chunk of space that they take up,
depending on the game, for sure.
Correct, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, there's certainly a lot of things going on in the world, Matt, and I'm going to try to do my best to stay positive because, this is my favorite time of year, end of summer, early fall. I can feel those chilly mornings.
Sausage season.
Yep, chilly mornings and chilly nights. And so when that inevitably happens, there's a lot of, like, nostalgia, past experiences, yourself during Halloween, or when you had kids and they were young during Halloween, or just going back to school, all those types of, thoughts. But the nostalgia I want to talk about, Matt, here, we're going to be over the next few weeks. Currently, you can play Gears, the first Gears. Gears Reloaded is out. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So Gears of War is back. That game first came out in 2006. September 12th, we're going to be playing Borderlands 4. We're going to be back into a new Borderlands game, which is always
Friday.
Which is always some good gaming moments there. And then in October, we're going to have a new Battlefield game, which we haven't had in a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be eating well here with a lot of distractions to get away from everything else that's going on in this godforsaken hellscape.
It's time to buy a couple bags of pizza rolls or chicken nuggets, some Mountain Dew, and get ready to rock on with some good gaming on a Friday night or something like that.
An interesting fact, you brought up Mountain Dew, and just go back to Europe very quickly. My kids don't. My kids don't drink what you would call pop, which I would call soda.
Okay? Yeah, pop.
But when we went to Europe, they tried Fanta, orange Fanta. Now the orange Fanta over there tastes a lot better than it does here. The orange Fanta and like the Sunkist here is like a very, very like strong orange color, right? Like Syracuse orange, right? Over there, I don't think they have as many like artificial coloring and things like that.
And the chemicals and flavorings and sweeteners and all that.
And it wasn't as carbonated. I mean, it was still carbonated, but it wasn't as you didn't feel like you had like those what's those candies that pop in your mouth, the Candy Rocks or Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
Yeah.
Pop Rocks.
Yeah. So
those kill people.
so as a treat, my middle son was the only one really drinking it. He would order at least a Fanta with the dinner every night.
Fancy.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to the gaming, we're going to be. There's a lot of nostalgia here with Gears. I've been playing a bunch of that. We'll get into in a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to Borderlands, and we'll talk about Battlefield 6 here in a bit as well. But I think PAX is going on right now, PAX West, and I think the opening thing is tomorrow. And Gearbox is going to have a big Borderlands panel. I might have to tune into that and watch that. I think Borderlands is poised to make a comeback. I think 3 did very well, but I'm not sure how well people think of 3. Certainly nowhere near as good as 1 and 2. So I am really looking forward to playing 4. And I think our plan, Matt, that we've sort of hatched is that we're going to play, not that it matters because you can do cross-play, but I think we just both said we're going to get the Borderlands 4 on the PC and the Battlefield on
console.
But even though Battlefield today released their suggested specs, and they weren't too crazy. But I just think the whole anti-cheat, the kernel level, I just feel like there's going to be some pain points there with Battlefield on the PC that I just might want to sidestep.
Yeah. Just turn it on and play.
Yeah. And of course, with the cool fall weather, football is right around the corner. The college football kicks off this weekend.
Tonight.
Oh, we're missing it. I apologize.
Nebraska and Bearcats starting right now.
Okay, well, we'll have to hurry along here. I got a subscription to Fubo. Is that how you pronounce that? Fubo?
Yeah, Fubo.
Yeah, I got a trial, 5-day trial that will convert into a full paying thing if I don't cancel it. So I'm trying out Fubo for a few days, and then we'll see about YouTube TV. Got to make a decision here.
Now, I just read today, Fubo. I'm not sure what you prescribe to, but Fubo today, ESPN just announced their sports app thing for $30 a month.
Yeah.
And Fox Sports is coming out with one. It's going to be like $20 a month or something like that. Fubo is offering for $50 a month a complete sports package to where you get your ESPNs, you get your local channels, okay, ABC, CBS, and Fox, NBC, FS1, some of your Big Ten, SEC network, stuff like that, your college. Yeah, for $50 a month, a sports only package, which sounds like a pretty good deal.
$54.99 for I think it goes up to $70 or something after the first month or two of the trial. No,
not the sports thing. The sports thing right now, the first month is I think $44.95, and then it goes up to $50 for the sports thing. Not. I'm not talking about Fubo TV. I'm talking about the Fubo sports thing.
Okay. Yeah, I got the Fubo Pro, or not the Fubo. I got Elite with Sports Plus is what I signed up for. So right now when I'm looking at their page, now maybe this other thing I have to go somewhere else. They have a Pro package, which is $54.99 for 1 month, and then it goes to $84.99. The Pro the Elite Sports Plus is $74.99, and it goes to $104.99 a month after that. But they give you the ESPN Unlimited with that, and they would also, if you wanted to, they give you an Apple TV, like the actual device, but then you're locked in for 12 months. And if you cancel, you're responsible for paying that device. ESPN Unlimited is with both packages that I just mentioned. The difference is really 4K is not included in the Pro, and the number of channels, 243 channels in the Pro versus 323 in the Elite Sports Plus.
No, this is just so Fubo launches Skinny Sports Bundle. Okay. Pay TV provider Fubo has launched a Skinny Sports Bundle with the goal of delivering an array of programming for sports fans at a reasonable price. Beginning September 2nd, Fubo Sports will carry more than 20 broadcast and sports-focused networks with extensive national and local college and pro coverage. The service will start off in select markets and roll out more widely. The cost will be $55.99 a month. The price point is well below that conventional pay packages like YouTube TV and ESPN, all that stuff.
So it must not be available where I am right now, because when I go to their page, I can't sign up for anything like that.
It's not available. It's not available for the second.
Oh, okay. So that's when my trial ends. I could certainly cancel my trial, which I probably will. I don't know if we're convinced to go when you're with YouTube, but I'm trying it out for 5 days. I got to cancel it by the second.
Yeah. 20 sports and broadcast networks. You get all of ESPN's live channels, including ESPN Plus, and for Fox, FS1, FS2, Fox News for some reason. The bundle also has the ACC Network, Big Ten Network, CBS Sports Network, Fubo Sports Network, Ion NFL Network, and SEC Network, and the Tennis Channel.
Yeah, it's got the one thing that has to have the red zone. My kids watch.
It does not say a red zone, unfortunately. It says NFL Network, but doesn't specify red zone.
Yeah, that'll be something I'll have to research, because if it doesn't have red zone, I'm a very unhappy family here.
Red Zone definitely is a good channel, and a lot of places when it offers it exclusively says red zone. It doesn't say NFL Network. So,
all right. Well, I'll report back when we meet again in 2 weeks, and let you know what we decided to go with. Because by the time we meet again, football season will be in full effect.
Absolutely.
And, just very briefly, I'm happy that everything worked out with Trey and the Bengals, and things did not work out with Micah Parsons and the Cowboys today. They sent him to the Packers for two first-round picks. Dallas Cowboys, the most, what would you say, the franchise that's worth the most out of all four major sports networks, was not willing to pay that guy what he got. He still doesn't have a guaranteed contract with the Packers. He's got $136 million guaranteed out of $188. But the Dallas Cowboys, the richest franchise in all of sports, was not willing to give this guy a 4-year deal. Hell of a thing. Packers, the people in Dallas lost Luka Doncic and Micah Parsons in the span of 6 months. There's a lot of tears going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth area right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes you wonder, do they know something everyone else doesn't? It's like,
I don't know. I mean, I think the pundits today says he's going to go to Green Bay and be the defensive player of the year. So we'll see what happens.
Well, he's got to fight Trey Hendrickson for that.
Trey got his little bag of money, and then he's going to be a free agent at the end. You always want a guy in your team with an expiring contract, because then they're usually highly motivated to play out and bust their ass and then get that other bag of money. So
absolutely,
I think it worked out well for both.
I suppose. I was just tired of all the drama and bullshit that surrounded him.
No, that's
like, dude, you signed this contract. You bitch and complain when you get this contract a year or so ago. Okay, and then you agreed to it and got it, and now you're bitching and complaining about a contract that you signed before.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here.
because as soon as the guy gets a hammy tweak or a blown out shoulder, they're going to cut his ass. So that's why the players try to look out for themselves, because the owners will quickly cut you just as soon as.
But you signed a contract. You bitch and complain, so you signed a contract.
Well, it's a two-way.
Right? No.
How many times did the owners go back to the players and say, "We need to rework your deal because we need to sign X, Y, and Z now, and you're making too much money"? And the player goes to the owners and says, "Well, what tough shit? I signed the contract. Why are you asking me to renegotiate?"
I can't speak to that because the Bengals don't do that shit. So whatever. But if you sign you agree to the terms and you sign a contract, then
I like people that are the man of their word. But I think the owners have a lot of leverage in that situation. The way they cut players, and then the way around the league. Maybe it doesn't happen in Cincinnati, but around the league, they often go. They went to Tom Brady numerous times. Tom, you got to renegotiate your contract. You're making too much money. We got to spread it out. We got to give you a signing bonus, and then we got to make your average annual value go down because we need to sign X, Y, and Z to make the team better.
Whose fault is that?
It's a lot of people's fault. The players want so much money, but then they also want to win at the same time. The owners give them the money because they want to appease the players. The fans want the best players because they want to win. Everybody's got a part in this.
Well, you told me a couple weeks ago, Mike. I'm not going to the games. I'm not buying tickets. So what's the matter to me? So what's the matter to the fans that aren't going to the game?
Well, the fans, whether you're at home or not, you don't want to watch the suckers. You want to watch a team that's going to perform, right? So to me, someone who doesn't go to the games, I don't care if you spend $1 or $500 million. I just want to win. Put the best damn team out there. It's not my money. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, but a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this, you said, "Well, you're not paying for it. You're not going to the game. So why do you care so much?"
Yeah, why do you care? What do you care if I always go on the player's side.
Just like you just said, I want a winning team. I want performance. I want things to happen.
Yeah, so pay the man. You're a worker bee, Matt. Don't ever lose sight of that. You're not management. You're a worker bee.
Fulfill your contract. Fulfill your contract, and then we'll pay you. There should be a rule that you shouldn't, unless there's, until there's 2 months left in your contract, you shouldn't be able to do this shit. You should fulfill your contract, and then from there on, then you can do whatever the hell you want.
We're living in different times and different worlds, Matt. Because we've said it before off air. Us normal people always catch the underside of a dirty foot, right? But these people that live in different realities, what happens is the contract that you negotiated 5 years was the highest at one point. But since then, 30 other guys have been signed and make way more than you, but you're doing way more. Your output on the field exceeds what these other guys are doing, but because you signed 5 years ago, you all of a sudden feel like you're not getting your worth. And what happens is the agent comes to you and says you have a small shelf life. You need to cash in. Yes, we want to have honorable men and women here that fulfill their contracts, but you got to look out for you and your family and generational wealth, and you got to do what's best for you as much as the blowback is going to suck, and you got to get your money because you know what happens? You step out on the field, and some guy does a drop tackle that's illegal, but he's still doing it, and you blow out your knee. They're going to cut you tomorrow because you're damaged goods. So you might as well hold out and get as much money as you can.
You could be driving to the stadium and get in a car wreck and end your career.
You could.
What?
And that's what they want, them more money because they never know what could happen.
You signed a contract 5 years ago. You came to an agreement. Okay, and 5 years later, people are making more money. So, but not 3 years into the contract, you just decide, fuck this contract. I want to stop playing. No, bullshit.
It's you have to do research. Does his agent have a history of that, or is that Trey telling the agent? I don't know.
I don't know.
A lot of these guys have get bad advice. Some of them get good advice. It just depends.
Sure, because the agent's getting a cut of that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
unless you're whatchamacallit, Lamar. His mother negotiated the deal. I wonder if his mother gets a cut of that. Lamar doesn't have an agent.
I didn't know that. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, a couple of guys in the league don't have agents, and they want to do it all themselves. And Lamar's mother negotiated his deal supposedly. which is wild.
Oh, good for her. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about what we've been playing. While I was away, Matt, while I was away, you were doing a lot of Stardew Valley. Is that correct? You didn't want to.
That is correct, sir.
You did not want to start any big games because of what we just talked about with Borderlands and Battlefield coming. So you've been kind of keeping it on the chill. And so you've been playing Stardew. Now, this is a game that's been out for a while. It's actually going to be a
long time.
A free game on PS Plus in September.
Yeah.
But what is this a game that you've been playing a long time ago and then you picked it back up, or are you just starting fresh here?
Yeah, a long time ago, I got it. I don't know, quite a few years ago. I got it and I played a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And for some reason, I don't know, going through Reddit, and you know how Reddit works. You get different things that pop up. And one of the things that always pops up is like Steamdeck and Ally and all that stuff. What games you're playing, or I just got a Steam Deck. What game should I be playing? All this sort of stuff. And one day I popped in one of those threads, and everyone was saying Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. You got to play. It's great on the Steam Deck. It's a great game. Cool, chill, casual game. I was like, maybe I should go play that again. So I started a new save, and sure enough, that son of a bitch plays great on the Steam Deck. I took it out to the farm one weekend.
It's always the first game that pops up when you boot up the Steam Deck and you go to the store and it says great on Steam Deck. Stardew Valley is always the first fucking game they show.
Yeah. So I went a couple weeks ago, went to the farm, and I was playing Blattra. I was like, all right, well, let's see what Stardew Valley does. And sure, I knew a little bit about the game. I just started playing blindly, doing stuff in that, and I don't know, I just got hooked onto it. And it doesn't drain the battery. You get plenty of battery life out of this game. I don't know, it's just fun. You go through it. I mean, it's like an Animal Crossing type of thing, right? You go, there's villagers that you go meet, and there's stores and different things you can do. And
I got a new game for you, sir. I know I've been peppering you this week with a lot of games, and we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, you have. We're going to talk about those. Yeah,
I got another one for you now. You got to write this down. There's a demo. There's a demo on Steam that you can download this, and it's very I don't know if it's similar to Stardew Valley, but it sounds like it could be. It's called The King is Watching. Okay. There's a demo on that of on Steam that you can go play that, and people have been raving about it to the point that many people say it's their game of the year.
Now, I've heard that a lot from you this past week about some of the games that you're telling me.
Yeah, I have my finger on the pulse, Matt. And so the King is watching, and so I want a report in 2 weeks if you think if it can hang with Stardew Valley or not. And while you're looking the game up, I was reading something about Stardew Valley this week. That that game has done a lot of collaborations with other games, and that guy doesn't charge or take any money from that. He only does that with games that he likes and thinks it would be a good experience for people. I guess he's made enough money off the his own game that he doesn't feel like he needs to take more from the pot.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've only scratched the edge. I've put a lot of hours into Stardew Valley. I've only scratched the edge. I'm on year 3 of my farm. The seasons go by very, very quickly. Days go by very fast. And there's farming you can do. There's fishing. There's beating other people. There's mining to do. There's a little bit of combat and stuff. It's just one of them things, man, where you go and you're playing. It's like, ooh, the next day, it's like, ooh, I'll just play for one more day. And then the next day you wake up and it's like, oh man, this shit harvested. So you're starting to harvest that. And the only way you can save the game is at night when you go to sleep. Okay? That's the only way you can save the game. If you quit midday, it reverts back to the morning that you started there, So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just a very cool game. I've played, up at the farm. Great on the Steam Deck. Great offline game. Okay, no issues. And like I said, the battery goes great on it. it's really cool. Lots of fun, relaxing game. Something to pretty different. Very fun.
I think The King is Watching is going to be something you're going to enjoy as well.
I'm looking at it here. $15, not bad.
Yep, and it's got a demo, so you can try it out.
Yeah, fuck that. Just go on in.
So other things that you have been playing that both of us have been playing that I suggested to you. There's a game that's called Raccoon. Instead of raccoon, it's called Raccoon, and I'm still trying to find out what they call those games in real life when you go to Dave and Buster's or other arcades that have those coin pushing games is what I would call them.
Yeah.
So this is a roguelike, and it has some sort of affiliation with Balatro because the music, the menus, very, very much looks like the next game in sort of like the Balatro universe, right?
Yeah, the same vibe, the same exact vibe and everything.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of different coins that you can play, just like Balatro, a lot of different hands. There's a lot to this game. It's not just about, stacking your coins and getting them to fall off the ledge. There's a lot of different things that you can do along the way. I played that a bunch today on the Steamdeck. And it's, the demo right now is, just says it's like, doesn't know if it works or not. I had 0 issues on the Steamdeck. It worked beautifully. So
good. That's going to be another one good when that plays on the Steamdeck.
Yeah. That doesn't have a release date right now. There's not a demo for it, but it is a play test. If you go to Steam and go to Raccoon, you can request to be part of their play test and get instant access to the game. But I don't know if you had anything else to share on that game as you were playing through it.
It's pretty deep. The game's pretty deep as far as the tutorial and stuff goes. There's a lot going on. It throws a lot of stuff at you very, very fast. I want to go through the tutorial again to play because there's just there's a lot going on with that game.
Yeah, I went to the tutorial again today, so I got a better handle at it. Yes, that's good advice.
Nice.
Go to the tutorial at least once or twice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then another great game that you put me on this past week, you should go away for vacation more often because you come back with just all these killer games to play. Lumina's Arise.
Right.
Very, very, very cool game. And Mike and I was talking about this last night. He asked me if I ever heard of Lumina's. I said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, way back when the Sega Game Gear came out. It came with that game, which was totally different than what we played last night. It was fun back then. It was more like a Tetris type thing. This is like a Tetris on steroids. The music is wild in it.
So
very trippy.
The developer, Enhance, that's their name. They put out Luminous Remastered a couple years back, which might be the game that you're familiar with back in the Sega days. So if you have fond memories of that, you can go search for that. That came out in 2018. Again, that's Luminous Remastered. And then a few years after that, they came out with Tetris Effect, which I think was that a PS5 launch game? I can't remember. But I remember playing through that either on the PS5 or PS4. And again, it's Tetris, but it has a lot of what you were just talking about, trance music, very trippy background stuff going on as you're playing, which can enhance the experience or it can be a distraction depending on your point of view. So since Tetris Effect did so well, and they already had Luminous Remastered out, they decided to make Luminous Arise, which would be the Luminous game, but sort of with the feel of Tetris Effect. Okay, so Tetris Effect did so well, that was well received with all those things going on, that it just wasn't a straight up Tetris game, that there was other stuff happening. They decided to make the Luminous game in that same sort of world environment. A brief history there, but I still, as we were both playing this, I'm not sure if I have a good handle on how to play that game.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's to be desired as far as learning how to play that game and doing it. But it was pretty cool. I mean, I got lucky last night a couple times doing shit.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's a game. Well, I didn't get that lucky. I didn't get that lucky. But I need this again, like the raccoon. I got to go through the tutorial on this game again to just kind of see what's going on.
And for our listeners, this Luminous Arise has a demo. I think definitely has a demo on PlayStation and Steam. I can't speak for Xbox, so if you're on PlayStation and you want to play it, there's a demo there. The game comes out November 11th. So
it'll be a hit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It'll be a hit, just like this raccoon. It's going to be a hit.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I think that's what you have been playing. As far as me,
yeah, that's it.
Prior to my excursion over the pond, I did play the first weekend of the Battlefield 6 open beta, and I only really played the Conquest mode. And to me, it felt like, sort of back to form. Battlefield, modern sort of fighting, not World War II and not whatever that last Battlefield game was. So it felt like a return to form. A lot of fun, a lot of running around, always, sort of respawn in your squad so you don't have to run around and feel like you're in a running simulator. That's always good advice. But the shooting felt crisp. The environments with the destruction was very cool. I know the feedback that you've given me is some people are complaining about the size of the maps. The two maps that I played, I didn't feel like they were that small. There was lots of places to go and traverse and nooks and crannies to go in and go inside the buildings. So I was very satisfied with the environments. I can't speak to the other modes. Maybe the maps are small in those ones.
Did they say, you remember playing, the Battlefields back in the day, that the maps were huge. It seemed like you were respawning back in, you're running back to get into the action. So that you didn't feel that? No,
because of what I just said. I spawned back in on my squad. Now, if everybody in my squad was dead, yes, you have to spawn back in at sort of like the main A. Mm-hmm. I think usually one team is A, the other team is F, and then all the other ones are in the middle. So yes, if everybody was in my squad, I'd have to start way back at A and then work my way back towards the middle.
Yeah, I guess like you said, it depends on the game mode too. But I just, back in the day, man, you would die and you had to just spend a lot of time getting just back into the action.
Yep. That was certainly still in play if no one on your squad was alive. Otherwise, I just respawned on them and I was right back in the action.
Okay.
Yeah. Driving around all the tanks and the vehicles, just all familiar stuff. And
weapons felt good and everything when you're shooting them.
Yeah. And I think, I could tell that the emphasis was put on gameplay rather than making this thing look like, the best, most powerful thing out there, right? I thought it looked beautiful to me, but it didn't, it wasn't like, I wasn't playing it going, wow, this is a next-gen visual experience that I'm so in awe of what I'm looking at that I can't even focus at shooting someone, you know what I mean? It didn't have that wow factor. It just had a very solid, familiar, felt good in the hands experience. That's our theme for the show. Felt good in the hands.
Felt good in the hands.
Yep. So yeah, definitely a day one. Okay. Definitely a day one purchase.
Yeah. Yep.
Other than that, I finished Killzone Shadowfall. Thank God. That was a tedious experience, but thankfully I have finished that, and that had a wild ending, man.
First time finishing it.
Yep. And we were talking about it online when I was like, I think the game just ended, Matt.
I remember. That's right. I remember that.
I feel like the spoilers at this point, it's okay to talk about because it's been so many years. But there's two different. It's almost like East Germany and West Germany, right? There's like a fucking divide between the two factions or whatever, and you're trying to take out one faction because they're trying to destroy the world. Something loose, vague like that, right? But along the way, you meet this woman on the other side who kind of has like the same beliefs in you, that like no one should have the power that everybody's after, and you got to destroy this sort of weapon, blah blah blah. And the guy who sort of rescues you when you're a little kid, when your parents get killed, he's like your mentor now, and then he becomes your boss. He's very unhappy that you have associated with this woman. So when you're kind of like in the final sequence, he fucking kills you.
Oh,
like
that's right.
And I'm like, the game just ended. The guy just fucking killed me. And then the credits roll by, and that woman sneaks into the place where your main character and this guy that killed you live, a more modern society versus, you think of West Germany and East Germany. East Germany probably the more run down, so they came from like a very harsh lifestyle. Anyway, she comes over into your world, and you got to sneak around. It's this sequence that maybe takes 10, 15 minutes. You got to turn off all these cameras that are looking for a terrorist, and you do that, and then you go down into this tunnel, and there's a sniper rifle there, and this guy that killed you is giving this big speech. It's saying, we have to be vigilant. What we experienced last week could happen today, blah, blah, blah. And then, you go and shoot and kill him, and like the gun is like the bullet's like in that Matrix style. Slow down. You can see the spiral, and then.
Yeah, you're kind of following it. Yeah.
You don't get to see him die, but it's implied, and then it goes back to the credits. Yep.
Wow. Play again to make sure you get the right ending.
No thank you. What I have been playing again is Gears Reloaded.
Yeah.
I wanted to play it on the PlayStation just for the novelty of it, of playing a Gears game on PlayStation, but since I'm unemployed, I did not plunk down the $40 just for the novelty of it. So I am playing it on PC Game Pass, and it looks great, 120 frames per second. It's still an older game, so it's got some clunky stuff, guys running around in circles and bumping into stuff. But other than that, I'm powering through it pretty quickly, and it looks great. The visual upgrade. What I will say is that it looks great because of the visual upgrade, but what I enjoyed about the first Gears game, it had a more tense and horror vibe than the other Gears games. And with the visual upgrade, it plays more like the other Coalition games that they put out in the Gears franchise. So it doesn't have the dark, grainy vibe that the original did.
Loses the atmosphere that the original had.
Yeah, I guess, just like the Digital Foundry guys have put it plays more like an action game now than it does a horror game. Because it's not as tense and spooky.
That's a great game when it first came out.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I know Blue was talking about doing a game night. Certainly, people have Game Pass. We can squad up and do some stuff.
Absolutely.
That's what I've been playing. Let's get into the gaming news, and then we'll get the hell out of here. The Sony is planning a Switch-style PS6 handheld. I've been saying for months we're in a handheld world, and this is the reality here, that Moore's Law is Dead, which is a YouTube channel that has leaked a lot of accurate PlayStation info in the past. And this article comes from videogameschronicle.com. Go check them out. Moore's Law is Dead is saying that there is a new technical spec for a PS6 handheld, which will reportedly release alongside a traditional, more powerful PlayStation 6 home console. This is based on up-to-date documentation from graphics partner AMD. Moore's Law says it's seen multiple documents that can directly call out that the planned PlayStation 6 portable can be docked like a Nintendo Switch, and claims that it will be capable of playing games natively at power exceeding that of the base PlayStation 5 when docked. I could go on and read you more specs here, but that's not what we're after. But Moore's Law is speculating that the cost of the PS6 handheld could retail around $500 and release late in 2027. So, Matt,
on that price point, hard to believe.
Well, it's $500 now. With the Sony, just upped it to $550 or something like that. So if it's a little bit more powerful 2 years from now, maybe they can shrink the die down and get, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. $500 seems like a steal. If it's Nintendo's Switch 2 is $500 right now, and it is not as powerful as a PS5. It's more in the PS4 range.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody, it's like football, Matt. Everybody, it's a copycat league in football, right? You got the tush push, you know, the defense doing this, wildcat, you know, just all the trends that have gone on. Now everybody's chasing these, you know, it's not like the Steamdeck has sold a gazillion units, but what has happened, the Switch, original Switch sold like gangbusters. Right, and that put us on this path that the Switch did really well, and then Steamdeck, they didn't get the Steam console, whatever that was called. That didn't take off like they expected, so they sort of retreated and came back now with the Steamdeck, noting that how well the Switch did. Now the Steamdeck is doing well.
Steamdeck's doing very well.
I'm going to make a number up there. I could be wrong. I'm going to say the Steamdeck has sold 3 million units. Okay. And then Asus and Lenovo, Legion, Go, and a bunch of other players have come into the market now. Everybody's trying to get a piece of that. We see Xbox doing that with their ROG Ally. And now PlayStation tested the waters with the PlayStation Portable, which exceeded their expectations, sold really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I want to hear your feedback on this. The other day, Roblox had something like 43 or 47 million concurrent players. And there is a push out there that those types of players don't care about the latest and greatest visuals. Clearly, they're playing Roblox.
Yeah.
And they like to play...
Right, exactly.
And they like to play their games on the go. And so Sony, Valve, Xbox are trying to get those people, trying to chip them away from the Fortnites and the Roblox as best they can and say, hey, you can play those games that you're still playing on our handheld, right? It's a PC. You can install Roblox on the ROG Ally if you want, right? So I think that's part of the equation, that they're chasing down the Switch users, but they're also trying to get those guys that are playing on their phones and playing Roblox and say, hey, you can use our device to do all this as well. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be a selling point there for sure. And then be able to play on the go and all that, you know.
I don't know why they haven't partnered with Roblox to get that shit pre-installed. Like, not pre-installed, but like the icon already shows up and then you got to click on it to install it.
Yeah, you brought up a good point there, Mike. I'm surprised a lot of these people, consoles, you know, Sega, Xbox, Valve, whatever, you know, Windows, aren't pre-installing these games on computers, Xboxes, your PlayStation 5. Like, I mean, your cell phone carriers do, right? They pre-install all this stuff.
Remember the time? Well, you don't have an iPhone. Remember the time I woke up one day and U2's new album was downloaded on my fucking. remember that big fallout?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Just by the way, Steam Deck, 6 million units as of February 2025.
Okay, wasn't terribly off. Only about 50% off, but. If you came back to me and said it sold 30 million units and I said 3, I would have felt bad. But 3 to 6 isn't too bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So Sony's chasing that now. What are your thoughts on that? I know you were a Vita enthusiast.
Yeah, I wish that they would have followed through on the Vita. But all the promises they made with that.
But this is going to play your PlayStation games, so there's no games. They're not making games specifically for this device. This is going to play all games in your library, supposedly. So that's a big, the backwards compatibility. Just in your library, all of a sudden, supposedly on the go. What I'm trying to ask you, Matt, is what is it going to take for you to get back to being a Sony pony?
Something like this. I think this would definitely put me there. Playing Goats of Salami, on there
at the farm while you're riding the zero.
At the farm, right? Exactly. Yeah. Some MLB The Show.
You and Barb are cosplaying as Ghost of Yote and Ghost of Salami.
I'll be the Goat of Salami. Yeah. She can be the Goat of Yahumi. You're yummy. Yeah. No, I would definitely be interested in this, something like this. You get like the PS5, PS6, whatever.
And you're not a graphics whore. You're not a person that's always chasing the top of the line. So you would have no problem playing the handheld mode. Where a guy like me would like, give me the PS6 traditional thing that's gonna fucking make me dinner, play me a game, and maybe give me a back rub at the same time.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I like the way things look. I definitely want like more realistic, more better, good looking things. But I'm okay with playing games on the Steam Deck or on the Ally X compared to the computer, just because I know that's the platform I'm playing it on. Right? I know this is what I'm getting. It's a compromise to be able to play this game outside or up on the couch or at the farm. Still be able to play games. I'm not. I love graphics now, but I'm not going to. It's not going to kill me to do this. So.
Okay. We're going to take a pause on the handheld news and sandwich in two other stories about longevity here. Now, neither one of us. Well, I think both of us have tried it, but I've never really grasped it. We're talking about No Man's Sky. If we can all go back to when we owned PS4s and everybody had sourpusses because the game wasn't what they promised. But Matt and I love a good story, a good commitment, stick to itness, and the developers at Hello Games, 9 years into No Man's Sky, is supposedly releasing their biggest update yet, Voyagers, which came out yesterday. And this has a slew of updates on this update here. It has Corvette ship class, assemble ships, multiplayer crew, mission radar, autopilot in space, spacewalking, new missions, starship interiors, new spacesuits, skydiving, graphical improvements, varied cockpits, new expedition, and all of that, Matt, for the price of what? Free. And I think that update goes everywhere to all their to all of the systems that it's on.
This game has made quite the turnaround and quite the progression, and for them to still the full support of this game after all these years and putting out. Now, I mean, not only this update, but past updates have been huge. These aren't just small, like incremental things. These are huge updates that they're putting out there.
You know who wouldn't work for fucking Hello Games?
Tell me, Mike.
Trey. He'd be wanting some money.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be wanting that bag.
Yep.
And, while maybe I haven't been able to grasp this game because it's a pretty heady experience, I am looking forward to their next game called Light No Fire, and they're saying much of the technology we're introducing with Voyagers is shared with our next game, Light No Fire, which is a truly open world, a shared Earth-sized planet with real oceans to traverse, needing large boats and crews. We love that we get to share this technology with players early. You can visit No Light Fire to wishlist it, but That's a game that a lot of people are, really looking forward to, and it's smart that they're taking tech on an existing game that's been around for 9 years and implementing it there first so they don't get egg on their face again when they release their next game and going, what the fuck's going on? But even if this game comes out and it's only 75% of what they promised, people now have to say, well, a year, 2 years, 9 years, it's going to be way beyond what we expected because they just proved it here, what they did with No Man's Sky.
How many gamers, I don't want to say gamers, but developers that the game that they launched didn't do as well as they thought would, but yet still supported it fully. All these updates and stuff, and they built this following for this game. That's unheard of.
I mean, the only other one I can think of is Cyberpunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cyberpunk got pulled from the PlayStation Store. I don't think No Man's Sky got pulled. And Cyberpunk was in such a bad place that they had so many refunds that they had to pull it.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was a horrible, horrible launch.
Yeah, and
I think part of that, them being like they are now, is just like not necessarily a guilty conscience. So I was like, okay, this, we fucked up, but all right, here we go. Now we're rolling.
Well, I think what happens in those scenarios is they know the game's not ready, but marketing deals are signed. They've already delayed the game numerous times. They need more money. They need money to come in to keep paying people. Mm. The Witcher was probably not making as much money as it was at that particular point. And so you got to release this thing to bring some money in, and you take the pain up front. But yeah, I think it went south probably more than they expected.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on Hello Games. I'm happy for all the No Man's Sky people. It happens every time they put a release out. I'm like, wow, the world looks so vibrant. This looks so interesting to me, and I go and play it, and I can't wrap my head around it.
A very deep game. Very deep game as far as what you can do in it.
Yeah. Now, a game that we have been able to wrap our head around, this is The Division 2. They are getting their 10th anniversary update. Now, the 10th anniversary, Matt, is the franchise itself, not the 10th anniversary of the Division 2. Division 2 came out in what, 2019, 2018? Something like that?
It's right around a
year before the pandemic.
Right before the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. So this is they're doing a 10th anniversary year with the Division 2, and they're introducing an updated take on the survival extraction experience, which was in the first Division, which Matt and I had a lot of fun with one time. And so they're bringing that there. They confirmed at Gamescom that though development is currently in the early stages of the veteran creative director from the early days of the Division, the team is keen to involve the community to shape the Division 2 survivors. And that was a game, that was a mode that many people when the Division 2 released, and it was not included, there was a lot of pushback. People are upset about that. And they've taken their time, and they're finally going to release it. So we'll see how that plays out. Also at Gamescom, they released a roadmap of various things that are going on. I think right now we're at Crossroads. That's the current season that's going on. The next season is called The Pact. And there's something called Resurgence. Season 3 is called The Mutiny. And then early next year, the anniversary, is when we'll start seeing new content, which they have a question mark on. And then towards the end of next year is when they'll release Division 2 Survivors. So while that is all exciting news for me, Matt, I want Division 3. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Mm.
Division 2 still plays well, but I feel like it's a lot of recycled content in different areas with a different story, but you burn through it really quickly and you feel like there's not enough meat on the bone to stick with it unless you're really concerned about all these chasing down these gear sets, which to me, is not really what I'm after. So I would love a really new full-fledged Division game. And unfortunately, they've canceled all the Division games that were in development.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't know what that means with a future Division game. I don't know how many. This is what, a couple months ago, our fourth playthrough of this game, at least. Maybe fifth. I don't know. And we play, and we get to a point where it's.
Yeah, you're busting out the abacus, and you're like, you're min-maxing, and what inevitably happens is you put on a whole bunch of green gear and you get super spongy and you die early. And you're like, what the fuck? I just did all this work to get this gear set, and I'm nowhere near as powerful when I just had a bunch of fucking random shit attached to me.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I think Destiny's kind of going through the same thing, where people are like clamoring for a Destiny 3 or just a whole new reboot or whatever.
You saw that guy from Destiny left, the head of Bungie.
Yes,
he was the guy that spent all his money on automobiles, and he was saying, but I'm letting the poor kids, I'm bringing these cars like to let the poor kids come in and play with them or see the cars. Ugh, fucking clown.
Yeah, we get out of here. Yeah.
All right. One last story before we get the hell out of here. There is more handheld news. New rumors suggest that Valve's Steamdeck 2 is much further away than we speculated. I think Valve has been very clear up front that they are not making a yearly iteration of their handheld, that there will not be another Steamdeck until there is, a new chipset or new technology. That they're just not going to put out one annually just for the sake of it. They're not going to treat their fans like that. Then this story here says fans have been eagerly awaiting Steam Deck 2. I don't know anybody that says give me a Steam Deck 2. Maybe the high end hobbyists who got just cash to burn and just always looking for the latest and greatest. I don't know many people that are saying give me the Steam Deck. Once you get the OLED model too, I don't think many people are.
I think what it is people they're seeing the new Xbox Ally, the Ally X, that type of stuff come out, and they're like, they think that their Steam Deck is ancient now when it's not. The Steam Deck is a very, very viable and great little machine. Absolutely wonderful.
No. Valve has confirmed that there is and will be no Z2 Steam Deck, referring to the AMD Ryzen Z2 series, which is Matt is talking about with the ROG Ally Xbox, which are powering the latest handhelds from this year. So as such, you'll have to wait for the next generation of hardware, or maybe even 2 generations, as this article states from PCGuide.com, which I think is good. Why be greedy? You got a good thing there. Steam Deck is selling well. Why fleece your existing customers just after a small amount of time has passed? Learn from Nintendo, the DS model. Then they went to the 3DS. I'm sure there was some other iterations in there in the middle, but don't fuck it up. I always, I don't know. I got the base Asus ROG Ally. I got the ROG Ally X. I'm allied out at this point.
Yeah.
I only want enemies. I only want enemies. No more allies. Just give me enemies.
I agree with you. Steam Deck's doing fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And there is, don't rock the boat. It ain't broke. Don't fix it.
People maybe will take this the wrong way. I don't know. But I feel the same way about the Series X and the PS5. I don't know what those systems are going to do better for me. I get more powerful, better looking. I get it. But I don't log into the PS5 and the Xbox Series X like the Xbox One and the PS4 and say, wow, I need something better. The loading times or the machine is too loud. those are snappy machines that are delivering me great visuals and great experiences. I'm not eager to get my hands on a PS6 and the next Xbox console next year. I want that to be, I want that pushed out as far as can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, sir. I know you got to get to your Bearcats. Can you give us a score here?
Yeah, let me look it up. I haven't looked.
Oh, no.
I haven't been looking.
Dedication to the podcast. Do you understand that, folks?
Absolutely. It is 3-3. Second quarter. 14, 20. They must have just started the second quarter.
3-3 in the sixth inning with 2 men on.
Yes, you are correct, sir. Looks like each team. Looks like the Bearcats scored first with a field goal, and then Nebraska in the second quarter got a field goal.
Well, I tell you what, I challenge any other podcast out there to talk about European vacations, football salaries, gaming, and Cincinnati Bearcats, live updates. We covered a full gamut of stuff today. I was even going to get into a little bit, Matt, before I deleted Instagram. I was spending too much time on Instagram, so I deleted the
What?
app. I deleted the app.
How are you going to pay attention to what your wife's doing?
I just have to use my imagination. But I was getting into real life Firewatch people. How much we enjoyed the Firewatch game.
Yeah.
That there's people on Instagram that live in these towers for the season, like the burning season, and a majority of them don't disclose where they are because some of them are just women up there by themselves with their dogs. But they have all sorts of cameras and drones and stuff like that. And, some of them have harsh conditions. They have to go down through the mountain to resupply every couple of weeks. And the helicopter, they bring the supplies to this location, and the helicopter brings it up to the top of the mountain where they are. Really an interesting lifestyle.
Yeah. Some of these fire towers are pretty cozy. There's a lot of work they got to do.
Oh, yeah.
They got to maintain these fire towers. They got to maintain these fire towers too. A
lot of a lot of rodents, and I wasn't surprised. I was not prepared for the veracity of the flying ants way up in that altitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've never heard of flying ants.
Oh yeah, but there's plenty of YouTube videos and stuff on this. And again, that Firewatch game was a lot of fun. It was a great game.
It was, and that got me started to look at these people and follow them. It's very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. They're only up there for, I'd say, maybe middle of May through September-ish. They call it
something like that.
They call it a season.
Yeah, it's like a fire season. Fire. Yeah,
and then they probably have to winterize the place, right, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if I could do that.
Interesting lifestyle.
You think you could do that for one season?
I think so. I think I could do that. I think so. I think I could do that. You can get pizza delivery there, right?
No.
Oh.
The drone, maybe.
Internet?
They must have an internet because they're on Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to cut you loose here so you can go watch your Bearcats and get ready. Is it a work from home day tomorrow? Are you off?
It is an off day tomorrow, Mike.
Oh, wow.
Listen to this, people. Listen to this.
Okay, we're listening.
I have tomorrow off.
Mm-hmm.
Monday's Labor Day. I have that off.
Mm-hmm.
I have Tuesday off.
Mm-hmm.
I have Wednesday off.
Oh, no pants going on at that place for a long couple of days. No pants parties.
I don't have pants on right now.
Oh, no. Are you going to the farm or are you staying local?
It depends if the car is going to be ready to pick up or not. Quick story. A couple weeks ago, Barb was involved in an auto accident, not her fault. And unfortunately, the car got totaled. So we are looking at new to us cars. And we found one. Unfortunately, the title is out of state, so there's paperwork and shit that has to be done there. So we're waiting all that to be
So you found it in someone's
completed.
You found it in someone's driveway in Kentucky Even though they own it, you're like, hey, I want that car.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The car is an out-of-state car. It's ended up in Ohio at this at a place. So we're in a process of trying to buy it, but unfortunately, it's out of state. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with that. Unfortunately, with the state of Ohio buying an out-of-state car, so all that's being worked through at this time. And hopefully next week I'll be ready to pick up and go through. So
this car's got to have a hell of a backstory.
It's pretty nice. Not bad. Not bad. It just pisses me off about her car. They got totaled, and it's unbelievable. It got totaled.
Yeah. Because the pictures I saw, it had a decent amount of damage, but it was the damage to repair was worth more than the car was, so that's why it was deemed totaled. Because it was still, but it was still drivable.
Yeah, exactly. It was still functionally sound. It was still drivable. We could have still kept this car for many, many years, but it's a story for another day. Since I found out more about what happened and why they actually totaled it.
Gotcha. I love stories for another day. It's like a cliffhanger, folks. It
keeps people subscribing.
Us podcast people, we like to throw out those terms, those buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this is a 2-hour joint here because we were away for an extra week. So glad to be back. And usually pre-football season, we do some prediction, but we're running late. So maybe we'll have to do some early prediction of Super Bowl, even though the first couple of weeks have gone by, the next time we reconvene. So get ready for your plan.
Get ready.
All right. Until then, this has been episode 40. We'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Bye.
Where you going, Matt?
Oh, I thought we were leaving.
It's not illegal. It's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.